Hello, people of the internet, Board Zach here, and welcome back to yet another YouTube video. And in today's video, as promised in my last couple videos, my advent calendar videos, I have been promising that I would be showing off a look at a new MOC. And you're looking at it right now, obviously. I said in that video that it would not be as substantial as my Oscorp MOC, yet it would still be a substantial MOC itself. And that definitely, I think, makes sense now that you realize this is a modified set, however, it is a largely modified set. So what you're looking at is my rendition of the LEGO Marvel Superheroes Daily Bugle set. I've only had this set for a couple weeks, however, those few weeks have been spent slowly modifying it to get to this point where I am very happy with it. The set was great on its own, it's just, I would actually probably say good more than great. It was a very good set. It just had a lot of little issues that really bother me over time. So I wanted to go ahead and make my own version. A lot of you are going to look at this and think it's not as good as the official set. A lot of you are going to look at it and think it's better. I personally like it more. However, I made it 100% to fit what I wanted. So that's definitely something you have to take into account here. I am going to zoom in because I'm sure people who watch my advent calendar videos are kind of tired of that grainy zoomed out look. It's definitely not as HD. Doesn't look as good. Once again, excuse the setting on my floor. This is the only place I can film with a build this tall. It's definitely tall. That's why I had to use the wide lens, same as I did in Oscorp. You might see here, Miguel O'Hara, 2099, is here to help us scale some size. You can see I upgraded him with the Captain Carter arms. Definitely wanted to show that off, but also just wanted him here because he can help us realize the size of this build. It does sit shorter than the official set by a fair amount. However, I think it scales a lot better next to Oscorp. One unfortunate thing, I cannot show this connected to my Oscorp in today's video. I also can't show you the interior. These two floors are same as the official set. However, I can't show you my modified floor today because I'm having storage issues on my phone, having a lot of issues with editing. I can't have multiple copies of the same video on my phone because I don't have the storage for it. So unfortunately, that is the reality I'm dealing with at the moment. However, you will definitely be seeing those things in future videos, so stay tuned. For the time being, however, I do have plenty to talk about for this exterior because there was a lot of stuff that changed. So my biggest issues with the set was, the first one was how slim it was. There was no ground floor dominance. It was just the same shape all the way up. And I hated how little of the base plate it took up. It sat in the middle of a 32 by 32, but it really didn't own that base plate like a normal modular does. It just kind of sat in the middle of it, and the sides were both just studs. And what I also didn't like was the fact that the sides of the build, they were uneven. One side had another stub than the other, and I realize it's really stupid to some of you. You're going to be like, who cares? It bothered me that it was not sitting evenly on the base plate. However, in order for me to make it sit evenly on the base plate, I did have to modify Lego. I did cut the base plates. Those of you who are familiar with my Lego Minecraft world that I used to do, those base plates were cut up already, so it's not like I specifically modified this. I'm working with the used Lego collection, so a lot of that stuff's damaged already. It's cut, I just recycle. So I definitely think it works here. And yeah, so the idea here was to fix all those problems and also to pay homage to what you will see here, which is an element of the original 2014 era Daily Bugle set. That was one of my first Lego sets, one of my first big ones, and one of my first ones, period. And I have so much nostalgia for that set. I just wanted to pay respect to it because when I hear Lego Daily Bugle, my brain still thinks that set before this one. I wanted to pay respect. I wanted this to be a love letter to that set. And I also added some little touches like the lamppost because I want this to fit into a modular setup. What really inspired me to finish this was the reveal of the Lego Modular, the Boutique Hotel. I'm stuttering. The Boutique Hotel. It looks great. I'm probably not going to get it, to be honest, but it does look really good, and that motivated me to put some finesse into this build and to finish it up. So I added some accent colors, as you can see, which are the gold and dark red, and those are inspired by the old set. The gold was a little bit of my own idea to add some elegance to the building. But you can see up here with the modified bit that the gold and dark red do work really well together to add that like regalish feel. However, that is not the only colors I added. I added dark gray masonry bricks throughout that just add that brick feeling, and a lot of these dark tan bricks you will see throughout the build that definitely just add some detailing to this building, so it's not just a big gray block. I really didn't like how it was just a large gray mass that didn't really have much to say for itself. I feel like the Daily Bugle should have a lot more prominence than that. The Daily Bugle should also feel a lot more urban, I think. It's definitely not in an urban setting, but I never saw like Oscorp where the building would be perfect and sleek. I think the Daily Bugle would definitely have more, downfalls to it. So I added these little window errors. Those were just my own personal touch. I really don't like repetitive builds, so anywhere I can add my own flavor, I will, regardless of if it, I think it looks better, but regardless of if it did or not. I just kind of like not to have the same thing over and over again, which is maybe where my problems with the official set did come from. I hated that it was just the same floor over and over, which is maybe why I don't do skyscrapers too often. My Oscorp was a bit of an exception because the 3 floors were the exact same. However, I think my point still stands. So on the ground level here, like I said, definitely still fits into the modular setting, just like the official set did. And it now sits evenly with the alleyway being 3 studs on both sides. And that does actually sit perfectly next to my Oscorp build because I modified the sides of my Oscorp building so the Technic connectors would fit in perfectly with these. These are supposed to carry the identity of the official set. I wanted to keep these kind of shady, very New York-y alleyways in between these buildings and next to the Daily Bugle. So that's definitely something that I kept intact there. The Technic connectors being implemented into small builds such as the boxes, the power breaker. Here we have a stack of newspaper and a electrical pole. And we also have a dumpster back here, and the other one is on the back of the official build. And I moved one on the side here just so there could be some more flavor to that alleyway. Those of you familiar with the official set will definitely notice that I kept the newsstand here, but it's no longer off to the side as it was in the official set. It's set next to the Daily Bugle, and now I have it as a part of the Daily Bugle. And how I really made up for that was by turning this sign, which was originally just this tile, into a much larger sign that used one of the stickers from the original Daily Bugle set to kind of clarify that this is a Daily Bugle newsstand. Obviously, if it was next to the Daily Bugle, you'd assume that they were selling their newspaper, but I wanted to make that a little more clear. I think branding would be important for a news organization such as this, especially in the city of New York, so you would want to assume such. A lot of the ground level here is the same. The door still slides open as it should. Although the ground level is actually modified a fair bit because I had to scoot everything in a little bit because the way I built this was originally I had extended this and then I finally pushed this wall in. So there was a lot of modifying going on the ground level, but I think it worked out pretty well. And I really am proud of the shaping here. I like how the ground level kind of dents in and then morphs up into the skyscraper. And the shaping here with these 2 large chunks in between the large tower was actually inspired, of all things, by Fortnite, which you will never hear me say that ever again. But the Fortnite Daily Bugle location is very reminiscent of the Lego set, and I really like the shaping of the building. So I use that game. I don't really play it, but I use that game for motivation on how to shape the building. I definitely thought having a model to go off of was nice. And then as you can see also on the ground level here, a lot of things remain the same. I did add the screen as I showed earlier, modified this sign a fair amount, but not super substantially. You can see this little design goes on here. They use these pieces on the edge of the building that kind of play in with these train railing pieces. However, I had a limited amount, so I definitely cut them off around the back, and I also had to use some of these rounded ones where I could because I had to. I didn't want to order a whole lot of pieces for this. Definitely in the future, I will probably flush this area out a little more, but that's for another day. Definitely not today. You can also see throughout the build these Ninjago City styled AC units. Now, they really use these AC units everywhere now. It's just the standard build for air conditioning units at this point, but it did originate in Ninjago City, so I refer to it as a Ninjago City method. You can see here also a similar thing I did on Oscorp, as I have the AC unit with some ducts that are tilting into the building, or turning into the building. The screens here on the front are mostly the same. I did add this small bit on the side, the DBC. That's kind of a reference to how in the Raimi films you had the Daily Bugle down the side of the building. I did consider doing that. However, I found that it kind of looked too much like Oscorp, and it definitely fits more with the size up here, because the Fortnite building for Daily Bugle did help me define the shape, but the original inspiration was Spider-Man PS4. And the sign is on the top and Spider-Man PS4. So I definitely wanted to keep that inspiration intact. Also on this side, you can see another radio tower with all the dishes, kind of like the one up here. We have another one down here with a bunch of little poles and antenna coming off of it just for some communication. This is a telecommunications tower as well, so you definitely want to keep a lot of that stuff intact. This build here is pretty self-explanatory, mostly there so I could run the Technic pin through it. This alleyway I already showed, but you can see the wall back there. And these plants are identical to the official set, so on with the fire hydrant. Coming onto the side of the official build here, I did keep it how it was with the fire escapes. I'm definitely not a huge fan of the way LEGO didn't include doors to get to the fire escape. I considered modding that. I might again in the future. I did not this time. There's definitely room for doors there. Maybe not here super smoothly, but there definitely is on the other one, so I've considered it. But for the time being, I'm not going to mess with that too much. On the side here, you can see this door leads into Peter Parker's office. So I made the door down here. Oops, I'm knocking things over. I made the door over here more like it's his personal door to get into his office. So, got the green door here and a web that has his cell phone in it because he's not supposed to have his cell phone at work, so he just webs it up outside. Very subtle, Peter. Definitely not. So anyway, that's basically the only customization to the side of the building besides the masonry bricks that I added in there. Scooting along to the back of the actual tower is identical, minus more bricks and more of my dark red design added in there. But everything else is literally the exact same as it was in the official set. The ground level down here is also basically the same. You can see my alleyway design back here just carries over a lot of what the official set did. Just with, I mean, obviously none of this is the same as the official set, but it's the same mentality behind it. Kept the little thing in here with Peter Parker's backpack tucked in there. Everything here is really the same. You can see the green trash can with the fire escape starting back here. And one thing I did implement for sure is another secondary color of green. That's another color that was very present on the official Daily Bugle, the original one, I mean, from 2014. I definitely wanted to have that spirit intact there. And yeah, as I am talking, I'm realizing that I'm nearing the end of what I really have to say about this build. I also did put this coffee cup up here. This is more so for the Spider-Men and women that might find themselves on top of this building, or other heroes. Obviously not a lot of civilians or Daily Bugle staff are going to end up on top of the building, but a lot of heroes will. So it's definitely fitting there. You can see the back angle of the build. I do think it looks really good from the back too. It just definitely looks good from the front, more so than anything. With all these details, all this color, I'm definitely very proud of this build. I feel like there's a lot about this build that speaks for itself. So if there's details that you think I have missed, I either don't think they need to be stated, I honestly might have forgot, or they are from the official set. A lot of this build, especially this tower section, is just the official set with some stuff swapped out. It's not like I came up with this. However, I do think the ground level and such are definitely unique enough to stand on their own as a MOC of mine that's just fused with an official set. I personally prefer this by far to the official Daily Bugle Tower, both of them actually, but I understand if you don't. So go ahead and let me know what you think. Let me know if you think this is an improvement, downgrade, however you feel. I'll understand. It's Lego. It's art. At the end of the day, it is subjective. So everyone's going to feel different about it. And that's the beautiful thing about Lego. If you like the official set more, you can just go buy it and you won't have to look at mine. I bought the official set and I thought it could be better, so I changed it to how I liked it. And that's what I love about Lego. This was a very expensive set, and I feel like I had the right to modify. It makes it a little hard to modify when you pay so much for it. But, you know, such are the woes. I finally got a job again, so I could afford something like this, and I could afford to modify it and to mess with things. And it's just a great set, and definitely something I would have dreamed of having when I was younger. I can't believe such huge sets exist now and that I can afford them. So I'm definitely very fortunate, and hopefully you all enjoyed this video. I'm not going to ramble on too much more because, like I said, this build really does speak for itself. So I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to put Miguel O'Hara down there. And he's also here because I'm very excited for Into the Spider-Verse, or Across the Spider-Verse. So he's kind of there to represent my excitement. I realized he wasn't present in the Daily Bugle set. He's from a 2018 Spidey set. But yeah, regardless, that is it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this. Once again, in the future, you'll see it next to Oscorp. You'll see it interior. Everything will be shown in future videos when I have the time and the storage for the most part. So yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you all in the next video. Yeah, goodbye.